Hey guys, it's Marcus Anthony here with another magic review, and today I'm going to be looking at Dimension L, or Dimensional. I believe that's the way it's supposed to be pronounced. By Magicats. So let's just dive right into this because I'm super excited to start talking about it. What is the cost of this? I paid $200 American, 200 US dollars plus shipping. It was about 245 shipped from the United States to Canada. So I paid about 245 or so. What do you get in the box? Well, if you've watched the trailer, I'm not going to bother opening the box and showing you what's in there. If you've watched the trailer, you can already see what's in there, but you're going to get quite a bit. You're going to get two magic wands. You're going to get a wrist strap. You're going to get a couple accessories that go along with the magic wands, as well as two silks. An 18-inch diamond silk, as well as a much smaller regular silk, size silk. So you get quite a bit in this. There's also maybe a couple other items that I'm not mentioning because of their relevance to how this effect works. Does Dimensional work the way it's advertised? Yes, it absolutely does work the way it's advertised. Within just a few minutes of getting the effect and watching the video, which is, by the way, 28 minutes long, and it has a very, very good quality. It is in a different language, so it's not in English if you're an English speaker, but there is subtitles in the YouTube video that you can turn on, and you know, I've always thought that, unfortunately, I never liked that because the kind of way I learn is I like to see it and listen at the same time, and when the subtitles are on, I have to pay attention to what's on the screen as far as the writing, and sometimes I miss the details and the handling. But it is what it is. I've watched it a few times, and you know, you get the hang of it, and you can see both aspects. That being said, it's about 28 minutes long. That being said, within about a few minutes of utilizing this and finding out how it worked and just practicing in the mirror, I was able to do pretty much everything that you see in the video. Not as well, it's gonna take some time to master, but you can get the hang of it pretty quick. It's one of those things that's easy to learn, but difficult to master. So if you've ever heard that saying before, it will take some time to master it, but anybody can kind of pick it up within a few minutes and start doing the effects. So it's good for beginners, and it's great for intermediate, somebody looking for a challenge. Is it practical? I think it is practical. I think it can be used situationally. It's not going to be for every venue, for every audience. There's a lot that comes into it, and we're going to get into that in the pros and cons. But I do believe that there is some practicality to this. Now, when I look at magic in general, practicality for me is never really there. It's how much I want to do the effect. What's the payout of the effect on the audience? What's the drawback to it? I don't really worry too much about practicality in many aspects. However, when I'm doing a show where it's a scripted, you know, for most part it's scripted, you know, you want things that flow a little bit better. You don't want to have to ditch things, and you know, you start dirty, you end dirty type idea. Which, by the way, in this effect, you do start very dirty, and you do end incredibly dirty. So for magicians out there, you know what I'm talking about. There's really no way around that. But we're going to get into that in the pros and cons. Can you do this in stage? Absolutely. It is amazing for stage. It looks incredible. Can you do this close up? Yes. I am going to do this close up. I showed my girlfriend, you know, she seemed to be impressed. Mind you, she's magic minded because of what I do. But that being said, you know, she didn't know how it was working or anything like that. So I'm going to do this close up. Now, I do suggest a certain distance, and we'll go into that in a minute, a certain distance from the audience because of the method in which this utilizes, the effect utilizes. So it's a classic method known to most magicians, but because of that method, you have to have a little bit of distance. There's also some clothing restrictions. We'll go into that in a second. So what are the pros and the cons here? Let's dive right into this. Pros. I mean, it looks like real magic. This looks like real magic. Okay? The darker it gets, the better it looks. But this effect is very doable and incredibly passes in a well-lit room. As a matter of fact, when I performed it for my girlfriend, the room was well lit. The way that the ball of light glows and shines, it masks a lot of what's going on. All you see is this tremendous illusion. It's really, really terrific. It's portable is another pro. There's really two major components to this for the basic effect. You can do effects with magic wands where they're vanishing and reappearing. You can do a wormhole effect where you're pulling a silk right from the middle of the light. But for the basic effect, there's really only two components to it. And one of them is always set up. It stays set up. You can do a regular routine with other magic and other tricks and move freely. You could probably get into a fist fight without this item moving around or getting to the point where you couldn't use it for the effect. So that's always set. The other part comes in and out of play. So that's the part you'd have to worry about. Though most skilled magicians would be able to find a clever way, as I have, to bring this item in and out of play. So I do believe it is portable. You're only really taking around basically this one utility device. It's a fair size, but if you have a bag, a small bag, or even your back pocket, something like that, this can actually go with you just fine. And you'd have no problem bringing it around with you if you're. It's not the best for pocket space, but it could pass. Like I said, it's easy to learn. It's great. It's good for beginners, and it's also great for advanced and intermediate magicians. It's easy to learn, tough to master. You have to put the time in to make it look as good as it can be, because you can pick this up in a minute, and in 30 minutes you're able to play around with it, and it looks good. But if you put the time into it, it's gonna look great. There's a big difference between the way that, say, the magician who performs it in the tutorial performs it and the way that I'm doing it right now. The time and the effort is there on his end, and so far it's still very new to me. So that's just a lesson in magic. The more practice you put in, the better you're going to be at whatever effect that you're doing, right? Whatever cardistry you're doing, whatever. So just keep that in mind. Some cons. There are some clothing restrictions. Because it implies a certain method well known to magicians, you have to wear a certain kind of clothes. Black or very, very dark upper body clothing would be sufficient. In some of the videos, the tutorial video, that I've seen on YouTube, not specifically in the tutorial, but the magician who represents Magicats, he does show a broad daylight in the middle of a grocery store using this effect. It looks tremendous, and he's not wearing black or dark clothing even, but he gets away with it because of his angles. So that's the next con here. There are some angles in this. Actually, there's a tremendous amount of angles in this. It's very angly. But if you are, a seasoned magician, you know that effects come with drawbacks. Very few effects are absolutely perfect. There's always something. And you learn to work with those. This is no different. What you're going to be able to do with this, the little drawbacks here that I'm about to mention, I don't believe they're as significant. But, okay, so clothing restrictions. Distance. Because of the method that this effect implies, distance is a factor. While I'm going to do this in close-up shows, angle controlled close-up shows for a specific audience, there definitely is a distance I want to keep between me and my spectator, and it's 6 to 8 feet. I mean, that's not a lot. That's very reasonable for this kind of effect. And as a matter of fact, when I do heavy-duty IT levitations where it's a longer routine or whatnot, or I'm working with venom, I like to take a couple steps back anyways. That way, so everyone can see, but also because I have that distance. So this is no different. Sorry, my phone battery just died, so I'm going to kind of picking up where I left off. I mentioned angles. So there are a lot of angles in this effect. Mostly it's on the offhand of where your gimmick is set up that you don't want people looking. So if you're right-handed and you have the gimmick in your right hand, you don't want people looking from the left side. Likewise, there's a certain degree that you want to keep your audience in. So this effect really does come down to audience management. If you're in that sweet spot or you're far enough back that that angle widens, then you'll have no problem at all. But if you start having people walk behind you or at the sides of you, especially on the offhand side of where your gimmick is, then you're gonna have some issues. You're gonna have some reveal. It's battery powered, so you do require 2 AAA batteries. I use Duracells or Energizers for maximum power and longest lasting battery life. But you can really use any AAAs, rechargeables or whatnot. There is a portion that I am a little bit concerned about what happens when this portion no longer operates. The video doesn't go into specifics as to how to replace this particular piece of the gimmick, or if they sell replacements, or if you even can replace it. You might just have to buy a brand new unit. That being said, it is a piece of the unit that should last a considerable margin of time. This isn't something that should just die on you and you'll have to go out and spend another $200 US within a few months, or even a year, or even 2 years. You really should get a few years out of this, of consistent use, since it's not going to be something that you're going to have going all the time. It's only going to be used for the effect. And like most other magic tricks that operate off of battery life, generally the product lasts you a considerable margin of time. And I should say electronic magic devices that operate on battery power. Mechanicals sometimes are easily fixable, whereas electronic devices, they're not always fixable at all if you don't have the knowledge. So folks, that's pretty much it on the dimensional side of things. I'm giving this product 8 out of 10. It's a solid 8 out of 10. It's situational. You can't use it with every audience. You have to watch your angles. You really have to have spectator management, audience management to use this. But it can be used in close-up, in street magic, on stage. It's a levitation effect that is unlike anything else on the market. It looks like real magic. People are going to go crazy with this. I can guarantee it. Just like I said, my girlfriend, she was absolutely flabbergasted by it. So there's a lot of potential here with this. But you have to put the time and you have to put the effort in and really master the effect with this. Like I said, it's easy to pick up, but if you want to be performing this live, especially close up where you're going to have people around you and whatnot, you need to be able to control this effect. But once you do that, you have a real treat on your hands with this. It has, over the last little while here, it has quickly become one of my favorite things to play with. And I'm almost certain it will be one of your favorite things to toy around with and practice with and fool yourself. So that's it for me, guys. My name is Marcus Anthony. This was a review for Dimensional or Dimensional by Magicats. I hope you enjoyed it. 200 United States dollars. I picked mine up in the United States off of Penguin Magic, but you can get it at various other vendors as well. If you have any questions or concerns, leave those in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks a lot, guys. See you on the next review.